thewhothatdaily.com. That's right, thewhothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, thewhothatdaily.com is your site. Thewhothatdaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us.
What's up, fam? This is Big Q from the Sports Coma. Much love to the family members. Appreciate y'all. The PRO Media Network is back at it again. Last year, we gave away several PS4s and games. So this year, we're raffling off a PS5. To enter for your chance to win, simply click the link below and fill out all the necessary information to be eligible. Sign up for the raffle. It's $25 to enter. You gain an opportunity to win a system, the PS5 system. Like I said, it's a one remote and everything in it that goes with the full system. These things are hard to come by. It could be yours. Into the raffle today, $25 get you in. There's also a deal when you buy more than one ticket to up your chances of winning. Jump in there. It also benefits the platform as well. So feel free to sign up for the first annual PS5 raffle from the Pro Media Network. Thank you for participating and much love. Big ups to you.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's going on, Tiger fam? Welcome to another installment of Tough Tiger Talk. Recapping LSU loss. That's right, loss in Tiger Stadium, 24-19 to the phony Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, who played like Tigers in this matchup. We could not close the deal in the matchup. Couldn't close it. We dropped a 3-2 in really disappointing matchup. This Auburn team's not really that good. We should have been able to take care of business. We didn't do it. But we'll recap that thing today. I'm Big Q chiming in on this installment of the Tough Tiger Talk. I'm bringing my co-host, GM Kev. GM Kev, welcome to the stream, my friend. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, Q?
Much love. Bro, listen, this was a late game. It really I kind of felt the momentum swing right when the second half of the game started as LSU couldn't score any more points. They put 2 field goals up in between the second and third quarter, and then after that, the offense just took a vacation. They could not move the ball consistently. They were totally one-dimensionalized. The offensive line, once again, they were moving the pocket. They put it all on the shoulders of Max Johnson. And this one, and they just could not get it. Could happen, and they couldn't make it happen. They could not run the ball in this one. It was very disappointing that we couldn't run the ball, couldn't eat the clock, wasn't balanced enough, and we kept putting the goddamn thing back to Auburn, and Auburn took advantage of it. Not to mention the fact that the defense, which provided bright spots in previous games, was a comedy of errors in many instances. They did hold to a degree up until the walls broke, holding Auburn's rushing attack down. But ultimately, this was a pathetic performance by LSU in the back end of the game, which they could not put. One touchdown would have put this thing out of their reach. We couldn't get it. We couldn't score any touchdowns. And, of course, it ended with an interception with Max Johnson falling down trying to make a throw in the coverage, and it gets intercepted. So let's get your thought before we get into statistics into the matchup, my friend.
Yeah, and, it comes down to those little details we talked about, red zone, trading 7 for 3s, one, being one-dimensional. When a team gets you one-dimensional, it's very hard to win consistently like that. So, as the game went on, we started to see that, and Auburn started to see that as well, and challenging LSU to actually run the ball. So they didn't really they wasn't really afraid of the rushing attack. So I was really surprised LSU wasn't more creative in the running game to get that going and then do some play action off that. But mostly Max Johnson in the shotgun, putting everything on his shoulders. He has good stats. If you want to go, if you're a stats guy, but does that translate into overall winning and getting into that upper elite? Where we want LSU to be. And right now it isn't. Like, well, to a degree, you're 3-2. You're one game over 500. But honestly, you should be 4-0 if some of those details was cleaned up. Defense still giving up big plays. For a while, they hung in there, but you're still seeing some of the same things reoccurring. So I don't know if it's the fact of a young team still trying to learn to get better, or is it coming from the top? So there's a lot of questions still to be answered. There's a lot of LSU faithful really unhappy. National primetime game. The region needed it. They needed to win to get at least their mind off, what's been going on for the last month. And it didn't help tonight, man. LSU didn't help. You there, Q?
Yeah, I'm here, Kev. Good breakdown. This was a pathetic game, man. In terms of our rushing attack, could not run the ball. Could not run the ball.
Why is that, though, Q?
It's the damnedest thing, because you got to move the quarterback Max Johnson around Roman pocket and shit just for him. I have an opportunity to throw the ball downfield. Offensively speaking, this line is not very good. It's not, and I'm putting it politely right here. I could say a bunch of other stuff, but I'm going to hold that. But this offensive line is not very good. They can't even run block. I mean, and this is the thing. Like, when it was showing, Auburn was basically daring LSU to run the ball in this game.
Right.
They was dropping people in the coverage, and they were rushing three people. You mean to tell me you couldn't beat five? That you couldn't beat 3-on-5?
And that's really showing you that. Is it talent deficiency, coaching, scheme, whatever it is? But that shouldn't happen. You got 5 offensive linemen and 3 defensive linemen. How are they still getting pressure and extreme pressure?
They're getting pressure because they are pathetic. This offensive line is probably one of the worst offensive lines I ever seen LSU put on the field, for real. Now, we thought that the offensive line would be a strength, but man, my goodness.
Yeah.
For going into it, the Tigers are now 3-2. It's been 5 games, family. We're going into our 6th game of the season next week against the Wildcats of Kentucky, and they're still having these issues with the offensive line. This is pathetic. So they're gonna have to do something, move some of them goddamn guys out of there who don't know how to block, or which these communication issues or whatever the case may be, and we got to put some road graders in there that we could be able to run behind, because we're going to need some help going deeper to the SEC schedule. We got to bring the running game with, especially when we go on the road.
Right. I mean, and the thing too is like, okay, well, if they're dropping people back in coverage, then all those routes that, Max Johnson usually hit, they're not going to be open. So that if they're dropping coverage, that means that you should have running lanes, and you need to take advantage of that. However you need to do, bring in a fullback, or if you need to bring in an extra fullback or running back in to like help protect, that's what you need to do. Go into big sets. I mean, we just haven't seen a lot of creativity of them trying to do that. It's the same formations, and going 3 weeks in, there's the talk about, hey, that LSU is struggling to run the ball. LSU, in their history, for as what we know, and everybody in the nation knows, that they had a really good running back history of running the ball. If they couldn't do anything else, LSU can run the football. So by them not being able to do that is very concerning, because you're in the SEC. This is tough, hard-nosed football. So you can't line up 30 to 40 times thinking you're going to beat somebody in the SEC that's even halfway decent. Auburn was 22. So, you got to respect that they're in the top 25, but you're at home. The crowd is energized, it's electric, it's prime time. You should have put this game away when you had a chance. But when you go one-dimensional and the team knows you can only do one thing and they take that away, these are the results.
Yeah, this was not a good affair. If LSU just brung half of the damn rushing attack, they would have beat Auburn. They would have leaned on the clock and did what was necessary and needed to do to win the game. But big ups to the Tough Tiger Talk family members in the chat. Big Boy Hard Knocks. Big boy 46 Hard Knocks dropping some science out here. Damien, what's up, fam? I see you, John, Cedric, and the rest of the family members. Tuning in with this tough loss, 24-19. Let's go over some of the team statistics in this. First down, Auburn 23-19, winning that one. 7 of 6 on third down, 2 of 3 on fourth down for the Auburn Tigers. LSU 6 of 17 on third down, 1 of 2 on fourth. 453 total yards by Auburn versus LSU's 357. Now through the air, 290 by Auburn, 325 by LSU. And then, of course, you look at the rushing, which was the story of the game in many essences, because that's how they won the contest. 163 yards, in which LSU kept them in check up to a point when, they started getting going late. The defense just started eroding. You could see it. Yep. They were breaking down. 163 yards rushing against LSU's defense on 29 attempts, averaging over 5 yards per carry. 2 rushes, first down. Yep. Penalties, and if you look at the penalties, not much going on there. 4 for 40 for Auburn, 6 for 50 for LSU. 32 rushing yards by LSU as a team. 25 rushing attempts for 32 yards. That's 1.3 yards per attempt. That's the part right there you start at if you LSU for real. And of course, you take a look at the turnovers LSU had, the late interception, and the time of possession here is all goofy. This is not what it actually is. But almost 29 minutes by them, and they're saying LSU had it for 62-12, that's goofy as hell. But even the computer's confused by the data. but looking at the team, it does not compute. But the reality is, if you look at the statistics, and just from a statistical standpoint, you can look at it and see that the rushing attack by the Auburn Tigers was what they used to bludgeon LSU and ultimately get the game. The defense stepped up and really kind of pushed LSU offense off there because they couldn't do anything. They had 4 straight field goals in this game. They couldn't score. They had 1 damn touchdown early on. After that, it was several times when they could not score touchdowns and they were forced into kicking field goals. So this is ridiculous, man. And then of course we know LSU, if one thing they're going to do is they're going to be able to run the goddamn ball. This was a joke. Kiner finished with 22 yards on 5 carries. But Kevin, let's talk about team statistics.
Man, sometimes the stats will fool you unless you watch the game, right? But you can see when you look at the stats and you see how Auburn dominated, something changed momentum-wise, because you can look at the stats and people like, okay, I look at the stats and I can determine who, win and lost and how the game went. And that's true to an extent. But football is about will. And later in the game, Auburn, they put their will down, man. They willed themselves to win the game. That comes off the momentum and who wants it more. And you can start seeing LSU on the defensive side of the ball getting very shaky, questioning themselves. You start seeing miscommunication again, missed tackles, big plays. The stuff that was supposed to be eliminated keeps coming back to haunt us. So I don't know, man. I know a lot of it is a young team still trying to learn and find their way. But this is not who we are, bro. We don't settle for mediocre. We don't settle for, okay, we 5-5, we had a decency. No, man. We are a 10-win team every year. So the trend right now, I don't know. It don't look like we're going to get there again. And there's going to be some questions have to be asked at the end of the season. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it seems like it's trending toward that way because we still have a lot of football to go and teams that's going to be much better than Auburn. So if you don't get your running game going, you're going to be in these type of games when teams are going to put you in being one-dimensional, and Max Johnson going to be back in the shotgun just, put the whole game on his arms. And that's unfair. Corey Connor is a good running back. Why are we not putting fullbacks in there, lead blocking and, just to give different looks? We're still in the same offense. Why? I don't understand it, Q. I mean, I know everybody wants to play the wide open, Pac-12 football, but this team is not built for that right now, bro. You got to take the basics. Let's just go back to old school football and start pounding people, man. So I don't know, man. I'm always optimistic and hope that this young team still learns and finds its way. But man, you got some tough games coming, and you're gonna have to find your way, find your way really quickly coming up because it's not gonna be long. Next Saturday, you're going to Kentucky, and they coming off a big win. You're gonna be in their territory. You know, I don't know, Q. It's gonna be a dog fight, man.
Yeah, it don't get any easier here. And Damian, big ups to Damian. He's asking the question, how many wins do they get this year? 6 or 7 wins headed out. I mean, listen, sooner the pressure is on Coach O. Remember,
Absolutely.
he changed everything. I mean, he brought in the passing game coordinator and Mangas. He brought in Pizzas, the offensive coordinator. He brought in Durante Jones to be the new defensive coordinator. He changed the offensive line coach who had an issue. They got rid of him, brought in a new offensive line coach, changed the linebackers coach, brought in Andre Carter to act as like the defensive line / pass rush coach or whatever you want to call him. So, I mean, there was changes all over his staff. And also, you know, he brought certain guys back to kind of help reestablish what they had. So the only thing that's still there in large part is him. So the issue has to reside in him. And of course, he's going to preach patience of the fact that, you know, this guy was not there or we still learning as a team. But listen, people are not going to want to hear that. You're going into your 6th game of the season. And a lot of the issues like, you know, running the ball, that's supposed to be fixed by now to a large extent. LSU just vacated the running game in the later portions of the game when they had every incentive to run the ball. I mean, it's just they just gave up on it and fed right into the hand of the Auburn Tigers. This just ridiculous to me. But anyway, let's look at some of the individual statistics here. Max Johnson finished the game 26 of 46. Man had 46 passing attempts.
That's what I'm saying.
That's 46. Too much for him. That's way too much for Max Johnson.
Way too much. You're not going to win many games, not just in the SEC, but any conference, but especially in the SEC, man. 46 times, and it's probably like maybe his 7-game starting queue, 6 or 7 games starting. Come on, man. I mean, how many? If you look at it, what's our yearly average right now for running? Like, what are we averaging per game right now? Like 30?
Our run average per game is we're averaging 80 yards per game.
Really?
80 flat. Huh. Through 5 games so far, the LSU averaging 80 yards per game. The average
it don't seem like it.
298 yards throwing the ball and rushing it at 80 yards. So, yeah, but that's still not a good enough total because the team we taking on next week in Kentucky averaging over 200 yards rushing the contest.
I tell you, bro, like what Damian said, and we was talking behind the scenes about that. I said the same thing that Damian said, maybe 6 or 7, man, if you're lucky. I don't see 10 wins because unless you do some dramatic changes, you know, like you say with the running game and, you know, getting back to not vacating that, and having the confidence to do that and clean up some stuff on defense. But, you know, like you say, we're 4 weeks in and we're seeing the same patterns. I mean, how much hope do you have?
Well, I mean, one thing for certain is that you've got to run the damn ball to win in the SEC or anywhere for that measure. And 80 yards per rushing through 5 games is not good enough if you're the LSU Tigers. It's not. If you counting on running the ball at 80 yards per game and putting all that on the shoulder of Max Johnson throwing, you know, it's not going to happen for you. It's not. Now, 26 of 46 for Max Johnson, 325, 7.1 yards per throw, 1 touchdown early on, looked real good. But Auburn made an adjustment and shut that shit down. He had an interception to close the game. And, of course, you look at what the LSU rushing attack did, which is ridiculous. 25 rush attempts for 32 yards. They almost had as many, just a few more carries, and they would have caught up with that yardage. 25 carries for 32 yards. That's ridiculous. And then most of that 32 came on the 11-yard run by Corey Kiner.
Yep.
So 1.3 yards per rush. And the crazy thing is this, Kev. Kiner was averaging 4.4 yards per rush.
That's what I don't understand. Like, it's like what you said, Q. Somewhere along the line, they just vacated it. And I was just, why? Bro, that got to come from the top, man. Because I mean, you don't think Coach O has the power to be like, why are we not running the ball? Why are we not even trying to establish that? If I got to go pull an offensive coordinator, that's what I'm going to do. I'll make that call. Hey, man, we need to do something. Let's change this up. But 6 games, like Damon said, 6 games, bro. Hopefully.
All I can say is all I can say to this is that I think ultimately what occurs is the pressure, because the boosters the boosters about the business.
Absolutely.
They're not going to tolerate losses to Auburn and barely can't run the ball against subpar competition like Central Michigan and these other clubs. We knew that it'd be problematic when going to the SEC schedule. If you couldn't run the ball, you're not going to win. And that was the case tonight. If we'd have established the run, we would have beat Auburn and we would have went into Kentucky on the high. Now we're going into a dangerous environment. No people on the high after beating Florida.
They on the high, and they look really good. I watched that game, and they look really good. So, with our receivers, looking at forward to that game, our receivers versus their DBs, that's going to be where the game is going to be won at, because they was really challenging Florida DBs. They was being really aggressive, bump and run coverage, getting their hands in there, be pulling, grabbing, and like when you're the team that's being the most aggressive and setting the tone, the referee let you play a little bit, So you're going to be in their hometown, and if they establish that dominance first, it's going to be a long night, man. So, bro, and I tell you what, you go up there and you lose that game. Yeah, the boosters already talking now, but it's going to be some serious discussion, some serious coach looking, and I know a lot of people who still love Coach O. And we love him because he's been here. He did a great job up to this point, to a degree. But people are talking, Q. And I'm telling you, let him go lose to Kentucky next week. Going to be some stuff shaking up. I ain't going to say he's going to get fired. But I'm just going to keep it at that.
Some of the things that I seen that Bo Nix was doing, where he was using his feet, scurrying around, making plays, slipping out of the grasp of the defenders. If plays was made by the defense when they had this kid in their grasp, that would have eliminated a touchdown off the board. Because several times, he scrambled around and created plus plays and bought wide receivers downfield an opportunity to spring open. And he was able to just buy time to find them. We didn't adjust to that. We continued to let him do that. We missed potential sacks on him. We lost containment on him. They were rushing him, but stupidly, not intelligent blitzing, allowing leak out lanes so he can use his feet to go upfield and make runs. And we're going to cross over to that just a second. Let me get through the rest of the LSU's statistics from a rushing standpoint. Corey Kiner, 5 carries for 22 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. TD Price, 5 carries for 18 yards, 3.6. Nobody, and Kiner had the most of the yardage attempt. Max Johnson scrambled 10 times for 10 yards, which was a yard per, and he was spied. Auburn defense wasn't letting you do that. They was keeping the spy around there to make sure that he kept an eye on him. So Max Johnson feet can beat him. Too bad we couldn't borrow that strategy and spy Bo Nix. It would have probably made a difference. Also, looking at the wide receiver situation, Keyshawn Butte, 6 catches for 127, 21.2 per catch, 1 touchdown. Couldn't reel in the really big one that would have helped us out at the back end of the game. Jack Besh had 7 catches for 84 yards. Like what this kid is bringing as freshman, he really stepping up. Brian Thomas had 5 catches for 32 yards. Malik Neighbors had 2 for 30, 2 for 20 for Jaray Jenkins. And this Deion Smith dropped a touchdown pass, man. It was thrown to him. Max Johnson found him. He couldn't reel it in, man. And this type of stuff you can't have. You can't have. And these guys are freshmen, so they're still kind of learning the game. We relying on a lot of freshmen, if you think about it.
I know. That's right there.
4 for 4 for Cade York in the matchup. He was doing his thing. Crossing over to Auburn, and really it was the Bo Nix show. 23 of 44 for 255, 6 yards per throw. Had that touchdown. Where he was able to, with his escapism, was able to get out of the grasp of LSU defenders competitively, resistively, creating these Johnny Manziel type looking plays on their asses. Bo Nix led the team in rushing, by the way, 12 carries for 74 yards. He averaged 6 yards per rush, and even hurt them with a touchdown when he scampered in on the play in which I forgot who it was. the guy hit him and supposed to run in your goddamn shoulder into him. Maybe you should have wrapped him up before he got to the goal line. He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the IQ low at times, low IQ football. And then of course you look at Jarquez Hunter, 6 carries for 65 yards for 11 yards. Bigsby, which was a pretty good running back, he was held relatively in check. But Bo Nix was a guy that we just thought that he wasn't going to do much to us, and he did. And then, of course, their top receivers was John Samuel Shanker, who's the tight end, 5 catches for 102 for him. He was always open. Demetrius Robertson had 6 catches for 60. And Fromm, the big tight end, caught the touchdown in the back of the end zone while Bo Nix scrambled around. So, I mean, it's intriguing to see exactly how it all shaped out for LSU. Not a good performance at all in terms of the second half, where we were kicking field goals as opposed to scoring touchdowns. And when you do that type of stuff, don't be surprised you're going to get beat. And LSU got beat today 24-19 because we couldn't close out the game, because we had 0 rushing attack that we needed to finish out the game, because we have a sorry-ass offensive line. I can't say it no more than that. They are. So this is what, like I've said, and I've been watching LSU for a long time, and let me tell you, this is one of the worst, pitiful excuses for an offensive line that I ever seen. Seriously. Yeah. The staple point of LSU football is that we gonna run the ball. No doubt about this. It's a pathetic line, and I don't know, whatever Coach O needs to do, he needs to start there on that offensive line, because if he wants to win more games, he has to get that turned around very quickly. So whatever it has to start with, we got some issues here, but it starts with the O-line. The O-line he has to shift players in it. Got to pull those assholes out of there that's not blocking, that don't know what they're doing, and we got to put some people in there that know what they're doing, because these guys here, they are pathetic, man, for real.
Let me ask you, Q, if that's the case, and if you had to go and substitute players like on the offensive line, a lot of them guys, you're going to get even younger. But like you said, I would think you need to try something to shake something up.
Kev, you got to try something. You just can't let these people sit up here and look pathetic like this. This is game. How many weeks do you need to learn how to block for a running back? I mean, seriously.
That's all about will.
And the play calling, too, is indicative of that. The fact that Coach O went away from the play callers like Peets and Mangus, who's the passing game coordinator, went away from running the ball is because he knew the offensive line ain't shit. Come on.
And that's when and when you start to see him do that, you knew at that point they were in trouble. Because, you could, like you said, you could see the play calling and see, what they're trying to do. And when they're in the shotgun and not trying to, establish that run, not giving the running back an opportunity, not believing in the offensive line, their defense know we got you. And at some point, you're going to make that big turnover and the game going to be over. And that's what happened, bro. So, like you said, I don't know why. I hope Coach O makes some different moves, bro. Like you said, if I got to get a true freshman to come in there and play on the offensive line, so be it. But I need to shake this up and shake these dudes up to let you know you could lose your starting job, because what you're doing right now is not acceptable. But we're seeing the same thing happening week after week, same guys, same formation. Let's keep, having Max throw for almost 50 times if we got to. But the guys, really, he getting beat up, Q. He's getting shaky in the later part of the game, because when you're getting hit that much, you're gonna turn the ball over. The offensive line not blocking on top of that, man, this is a recipe for disaster. And I'm hoping the kid don't get hurt. So, bro, we'll see, man.
Yeah, this is awful, man. To be honest with you, I mean, it starts with like I said, it's a live family that we're looking at, but it starts with the offensive line. There is no success if you can't run the ball in the SEC or anywhere for that matter. 24-19, LSU drops to 3-2. And the next, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to look ahead, Kevin. That's a part of it. Is that we're gonna have to span ahead and look at who they got coming up next, which is Kentucky. We had a really big win today over Florida, man, and they were running on the field and everything as they knocked off Florida. They were happy. This team is playing on a high, and we have to go into Kentucky and take it from these people. Got to go down there to Kroger Field in Lexington and take it from them. But it just seemed like they the ones that are gonna be making groceries down there. I mean, hey, let me tell you something. It's not going to be looking good. But let's
Yeah.
let's preview that, Kev. Let's start with it,
Oh
man.
God.
I know. Their top guy there, Will Levis, is the quarterback. 66 out of 101, 902 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. For Levis, Max Johnson's numbers: 87 of 135 for 1144. 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions are not bad numbers considering the fact what we're going through. But the reality is we need the running attack to help. LSU's top running back, Corey Kiner, 27 carries, so 144 yards through 5 games, 2 touchdowns, and he really didn't start playing till like 2 or 3 games ago. Yeah. Okay, you look at what Kentucky dealing with their running back, Chris Rodriguez Jr., 85 carries, 513, 3 touchdowns. And, of course, Kashawn Butte is our top dog right there, 24 catches on the season for 309. He has 8 touchdowns. Their top wide receiver is Wandale Robinson, 25 catches, 402 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, if you look at the team statistics here, Kentucky is 5-0 and 3-0 in conference play. One of the family members said we done crossed over into the twilight zone when Kentucky beat Florida, and they sent up here 5-0 and 3-0 in conference play. LSU stammering at 3-2 right now. And looking at it, LSU's 34.5 with their averaging per game, scoring wise, and they've given up almost 23 points per contest. You look at what Kentucky's doing; they average 31 points per game and holding you to just under 18 a game. So they come in with it from a statistical standpoint. And like I said, I watched that game today. Those guys was flying around the field,
man, and that's what's most impressive. You can see a defensive stat and oh, those guys are holding it down, but you got to watch the activity. And I'm seeing a lot of one-on-one coverage, Q. Like the defensive coaches, like, I got confidence in my guys to play one-on-one bump and run and be physical. So you're going into their hometown where they got the crowd with this energy. Man, they on a high right now, and they were really challenging Florida receivers. And we have a problem running the ball. If we don't establish the run in this game, we're going to get the same results again because these guys play very physical, fast defense. They don't do too much of, I want to say, double covering a receiver. They're one-on-one play. So what we would have to do is establish the run, hopefully play action, and get some one-on-one coverage because I think at times our receivers can probably beat their corners. But you can't get in these long 3rds and 12s and 15s up there, man. And So that's going to be the key to the game. Run the ball. Let's milk clock. Let's take the crowd out the game. Let's dominate and present the physicality right out the gate. That's how we can win this game, Q. If we don't do that, it's going to be a long night. So, we'll see. But Coach O, if you're listening, please, man, take control of this. Whoever you got to grab, whoever you got to call, let's make changes. Let's make substitutions. Let's shake it up right now. Because whatever you're doing right now is not working against the topper teams. Now, I look at, when you played the little cupcakes, we was expecting you to win those games. But these teams that got a name, even a UCLA, and, you're going back to Auburn now, and then now you got Kentucky. These teams got names. And you're not looking good against them in the last year and a half so far. So, I don't know, man. We'll see, Q.
Yeah, I got the statistics on stream right here for the Kentucky matchup. You can take a look at their total yards, what they're doing. LSU 377.8 yards per contest. They're throwing almost 298 yards through the air and rushing. Like I told you, 80 yards per rush per game for LSU. That's really low. And, of course, you look at what Kentucky's doing, 440.8 is what the offensive averages per contest. 238.5 of that is through the air, and they're rushing 202 yards per game. That's really a tough. That's a lot of rushing yards. 200 yards per contest. Just small. And look at the defense for LSU. 344.5 is what they're giving up per game. 237.5 of it through the secondary. And they're allowing you to run for 108 yards flat against them per contest. What about Kentucky? Kentucky holding you down and stopping you at 260 flat. Then making you, and then of course LSU averaging 298, but the secondary for Kentucky said nope, 172.5 is what we're going to allow through the air, and they hold you to 87.5, which is just 7.5 point, a little higher than what LSU's average is. So this is from a statistical standpoint, you can see that Kentucky has been pretty good offensively and defensively speaking. And they're a formidable team that a lot of people are overlooking. Now, sooner or later down the stretch, I'm pretty sure people they'll lose a few games. But for right now, this is very tough, man. LSU has to win this game. It's a big if they lose this one right here, fam, this could be problematic because it'll drop them down to 3-3. And I'm hoping they can do it, but it comes down to what it is that you have to run the ball, and they just showing that they're just so incapable of that for whatever reason right now. That offensive line is pathetic, man. I don't know what they need to do, but they got to shake it up. Damien says, Q, he says, answering, can you or Kev answer the Tulane question? Okay, Damien, what's the what Tulane question, my brother, that I missed? I must have missed something from a previous quote for Damien asking about Tulane. I think Tulane lost tonight too.
Yeah,
but
they did.
From an offensive standpoint, Tulane is putting up some points, and they really try. I think defensively speaking, they struggle a great degree, and but they are exciting games that watch Tulane play. So.
It's right. I mean, even though they're losing, they're playing inspired football, but it comes down to talent, though. Q, like they don't have a recruiting budget like LSU do. So when you look at it, should be flip flop, like because. Like if LSU can get the energy and emotion and the will of what Tulane is trying to do, and what they're trying to do moving forward in the future, they probably can win more of these games at LSU. But it just seemed like at LSU going through the phases, let's just get through it, and I don't know, it's just a weird attitude, bro. I don't really know what's going on in the locker room or behind the scenes that. Maybe some people trying to keep something in house, but something is off there, bro. And the camera goes to Coach O at certain points in the game. It's looking like he's looking like, do he still want to be here? I don't know, bro. It's just really weird right now, man. But I love what Tulane is doing, bro. Like I know they're losing, but they don't have the money that and the boosters that LSU have. So it's no excuses for LSU, bro. Well, we can't blame Hurricane either. So now who you gonna blame?
Yeah, it's no one to blame, man. The bottom line is that LSU, man, they got to get it right, man. There's no way that LSU should be losing or losing to Kentucky here. I mean, this is coming up here, and like I said, man, it's what it is. Look,
it's the game of will, Q. You see the stat from Kentucky. Defensive backs and what LSU can do on offense with their receivers. Who gonna win that matchup? Who want it more? That's what they're gonna come down to with these games, man. Because SEC is almost leveled out when it comes to talent at certain positions. Who has a better scheme and who really want it. So we're about to see who really want it next week between those receivers and those DBs. Whoever wins that matchup is gonna win this game.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one, man. This is gonna be a tough one, way tougher than the Auburn matchup. We had this Auburn team. We had this team beat. We kept and when they kept punting the ball to, I say, man, listen, man, this is not good. And of course, Big Boy said we a mediocre team. A lot of people looking at LSU, and you going into your 6th game of the season. The reality is this team here, it does not know how to run the ball effectively, and that's really problematic. That we've been. It's going into the 6th game of the season, and we averaging 80 yards a game, and put it all on the shoulders of Max Johnson. That's totally ridiculous.
I don't know why they decided to do that. Why did they decide to do that? Giving up on
the running at the end of the game when they were basically daring you to do it and dropping everybody in the coverage.
Right.
And we would refuse to run the ball shows me that they have no confidence in the offensive line, because the offensive line is not hitting on nothing. So they're going to have to – I know they got a lot of freshmen, but right now, to be honest with you, Kev, a
But
lot
you
of the
can't wave
freshmen
the
are
flag.
contributing to the team right now. A lot of the
Yeah,
freshmen are contributing. Corey
yeah.
Kind is a freshman. Jack Batch is a
He's a
freshman.
freshman.
You
Yep.
got a bunch of freshmen out there contributing to the team. You're gonna have to pull these guys out that are not good enough or not ready to play, and you're gonna have to put guys in there that's ready to play. It's the bottom line. You're gonna have to coach them up and make it happen. Coach O, his head is on the chopping block right here because
Absolutely.
LSU can't lose to Kentucky and drop the 3-3. Do you hear me? That your
Absolutely.
season is
No,
basically over with, man. At that point,
it sure is. It's on the brink right now, bro. And it's like you said, bro. When you say must win,
this is a
not
must
just
win.
absolutely. Look, not just for LSU, for Coach O. Like right now, you fighting for like if you're gonna stay here for the future. If you go up there and
Okay,
lose
hold on.
this
I get that
game
then.
and lose it like really bad, and a lot of these things we come back resurface, man. You talking about man the boo birds coming, bro.
Yeah, this can't happen. We can't drop this. So that's the focus moving now that the game is over with Auburn, and you had a full stadium, man, out there ready to show out for you. Could not harness the energy of that stadium. We go down 24-19, and they score 6 points in the second half, allowing Auburn to put 14 points on them in the final quarter to take the game and march their asses out of there. And then you get a minute and some change to go up the field to make it right, and you throw an interception because you're unbalanced. So I mean, like I said,
Unbalanced.
this is ridiculous, man. And Coach O gonna come on the radio tomorrow and talk about tell the truth Sunday, Monday, and all this type of shit. But let me tell you something, man. You tell the truth. You need to do something with that offensive line. You need to do something radically fast because without a running attack, you're not going to win many games in the SEC. I'm just gonna keep it real. Damian says I was asking Big Q about Willie Fritz, got an extension going 5-7, 6-6 every year, but Curtis Johnson did the same as him but got fired. How did Willie Fritz how is he still a coach? That's my two main question. With Fritz, yeah, I remember Curtis Johnson being over there, man. They had big hopes on Curtis Johnson there. It just didn't work out. I don't know. I think Willie Fritz is a older coach who has a little bit more experience than Curtis Johnson. He's a little bit more personable. I don't know if you realize the personality of Curtis Johnson, but he has a drill sergeant approach.
That's what it was
to him, and he can come off a bit kind of rough around the edges. And just give you like a personal story. When I was at Saints training camp this past year, I was real close listening to Curtis Johnson when he was doing the drills with the wide receivers, and he was even when they was catching touchdowns, he was still fussing at them. And I'm like, the only guy, and I made a joke about it, and I said the only reason why the only guy he don't fuss at is the guy is the same height as him. The rest of them he fuss at him when they make like this guy here, but he has a drill.
Yeah.
He got a drill sergeant approach to his coaching method. And Fritz doesn't have that drill. He's more personable, He's older than Curtis Johnson, and he's a little bit more experienced than Curtis Johnson. He's been around the block a little longer, I won't say. Yeah. So, I mean, when he came there, he really started, doing the stepping stone increases. And I think toward the back end of Curtis Johnson's tenure, he started losing control. That's why they ended up getting him up out of there. He started losing. But Fritz, man, is actually building the step, and he making them respectable. Like when they played against Oklahoma to still open the year up, they barely lost by 3 points against Oklahoma's like number 2 top 5 team. I think there's and Tulane barely lost. So like I said, it's all about the coaching style and and which style is more appreciatory toward those players. And that drill sergeant style is fast becoming the thing of the past.
Fritz got a different energy about him, man. When you get that energy in the building, and a lot of administrations, they love to see like that progression, and that gives them hope for the future. Like when hopefully we can get some recruiting dollars and get in people because we see the energy of how guys playing now. It's not all translating to wins, and we know why it's not, because we need a few more athletes that we can scratch from somewhere, but we need the recruiting dollars. If this guy's personable like we think he is, and like you say he is, Q, he get out there in the community, rub the right shoulders, we might can scratch and get some of those dollars. And if we do get some of those dollars, LSU, you might be in for a treat. You're gonna have some competition in the state of Louisiana on that college level, bro. You better hold them recruiting dollars really close.
My goodness, man. Coach O, the heat is definitely to see his seat burning up right now with that loss to Auburn. And it'll be damn near nuclear if he loses to Kentucky next week going into Kentucky. This is a big test right here for LSU. And let's see if they got some pride to step up here. They responded somewhat after the UCLA loss in week 1. And then they came back and reeled off a series of wins against 2 lesser foes and a pretty decent team, all right team there they were able to beat. We're supposed to be 4-1 at this point, but it is what it is. LSU goes down today, family. I wish I had better news for y'all. 24-19, we just the bottom fell out, and we couldn't run the damn ball once again. So Kentucky's up next. The statistics is on field about them. They're a very good team, offensively and defensively speaking. It'll be a challenge. We're going to Lexington up there, and we're gonna have to take care of business. And remember, all of the B teams in their hometown, in their home, you're gonna need the running attack. So rolling out and all these extended handoff plays is just more of the same, that we just can't run the ball effectively. So whatever they got to do, even if they got to bring in extra blockers to get the running game going, they're gonna have to do it. They're gonna have to do whatever it takes, because you can't win and you won't win in the SEC or anywhere that else if you don't have the running attack with you, especially on the road.
Absolutely, bro. I can't agree with you more. We always talk about those basic things. And, I know everybody, well, some coaches now, they like the cute and the pretty stuff. And we're going to pass 50 times. It's a passing league. No, bro. The basic of football is always about dominating your opponent. And how do you do that? Line up and knock their ass off physically. And when you in a team, to me, Coach O threw the flag tonight, crew. He threw the flag, and I surrender. We can't run. I give up on that. And when you do that, man, these defensive coaches gonna eat your goddamn lunch, and that's what happens. So, hopefully they go back and watch tape and clean it up. And all we can do is wait and see, bro. That's all we can do at this point.
Wait and see, indeed. So, with that being said, family, we're gonna get out on that note, man. Very upsetting loss to Auburn. We had this game in our possession. Ultimately, we let it slip because we can't run the ball. Offensive line is a major problem, and they couldn't work the clock. I mean, if you can't run the ball, you can't run the ball. The clock is 9 minutes on the clock. They punted it off to him. I said, you're giving Auburn, who was building up that mojo. You could see Bo Nix getting going. At first, he was kind of not there. Then you allow him to gain a rhythm, running around and making all these plays. And then you're giving them ample opportunities against a tired defense. And then they come back to burn you in the rear end. 24-19. We're 3-2 going into Lexington, Kentucky next week against the Kentucky Wildcats, coming off a nice win over Florida. I watched that contest. I did a little scouting for the next game. We got to see with Kentucky, and they look really good. They flying around the field. They got a really electric fan base out there, 5-0, and it'll be a real big contest for LSU. So if they could take care of business, Kev, I won't be surprised that when the polls come out, Kentucky could be ranked. What you think about that?
Absolutely, they should be ranked because Florida was number 10. So yeah, I mean, with the press they're getting right now from pulling off that upset, bro, I could definitely see them cracking the top 25. I don't know where they're going to land at, but they should be up there. They deserve it, and they earned it. So I'm not going to take nothing from them. And you got to look at it to be unbiased. I watched them, and you got to look at it like, well, I'm not an LSU fan nor a Kentucky fan. Let me just watch football. And what I watched, bro, like they defense is very active. And like you said, if we don't run the ball, we get into this throwing 46, 47 times a game, bro, we not winning up there, Q. I don't think you can win this game next week throwing 47 times a game up there. I don't see that, Now, I don't know what the weather going to be like for the forecast yet. Usually during this time of year, a lot of rain comes in. So we'll see. But no, they're going to have to establish the run some kind of way. Big tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, 2 fullbacks, 5 fullbacks, whatever you got to do. You got to run the ball. Old trickaroo, something.
It's gonna be intriguing to watch, family, coming up next week for this contest, man. To watch what happens when we go up to Kentucky and take them on. If you can see the time for this one to be on the 9th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So a couple hours earlier than the matchup. So we don't have to be late talking about it. And this, once again, a lot of the Tiger Nation's eyes are going to be firmly fixed on this game. And LSU has to be able to turn this thing around. They got to run the ball to have success against, especially the likes of Kentucky, who's a pretty good defense. To balance it all, it's going to be a long day for the offense, in particular, Max Johnson. So with that being said, we're going to end the stream on that. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. I wish I had, like I said, happier news. 24-19, LSU falls to 3-2, 1-1. They are now third in the West. So Alabama, Auburn leapfrogs them. They're 4-1, 1-0 in conference. LSU's 1-1 now and dropped to 3-2. Underneath them is Arkansas, who also lost, who's 1-1, and they're 4-1 overall. Mississippi State is 3-2 overall, 1-1 in conference. Ole Miss 3-1, 0-1 in conference play at Texas A&M, 0-2 in conference play. They're 3-2 overall. On the other side, Georgia's the big dog on the block, 5-0, 3-0 in conference play. Kentucky is right up under them. So really interesting to see how that goes. Really surprised to see Kentucky doing that, but they stepping it up. So with that being said, Kev, I'd like to thank you, fam, for dropping in on the broadcast today. I'd like to give a special shout out to all the family members in the Tough Tiger Talk chat. Please feel free to hit upon the like button, hit the notification bell, and share the show stream in your social media to other members of the Tiger Nation. So, Kev, I'm going to give you the last word on the block, bro, before we chime out.
Hey, man, anytime, man. You know, we love talking LSU football, bro. But, we're all disappointed. And I try to find some positives in there at times, and there are some positives in this. You do see a lot of freshmen, like we talked about, getting some playing time, and you can see that they're going to be a big part of the LSU program moving forward. But despite all that, we want wins. We want to be respectable, and I don't think that 500 season is going to be accepted by the masses.
Nope.
That's not good. I mean, we accepted it last year because of COVID, and the team, a lot of guys, set out to go to the draft, and a lot of them transferred and all. So you got by with that one. But this year, they're not letting it slide. So we hope for progress and hope for the best, man. That's all we can do at this point. All
right, there it is. So with that being said, I'm gonna chime out on that. Appreciate y'all for chiming in. And we'll holler at you next week for more Tough Tiger Talk on this channel. Much love. Go Tigers.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
What's up, fam? This is Big Q from the Sports Coma. Much love to the family members. Appreciate y'all. The PRO Media Network is back at it again. Last year, we gave away several PS4s and games. So this year, we're raffling off a PS5. To enter for your chance to win, simply click the link below and fill out all the necessary information to be eligible. Sign up for the raffle. It's $25 to enter. You gain an opportunity to win a system, the PS5 system. Like I said, it's a one remote and everything in it that goes with the full system. These things are hard to come by. It could be yours. Into the raffle today, $25 get you in. There's also a deal when you buy more than one ticket that up your chances of winning. Jump in there. It also benefits the platform as well. So feel free to sign up for the first annual PS5 raffle from the Pro Media Network. Thank you.